PM case, John Zorzit, secured creditor, 424 South Payson Street, Class BD7, Beer Lawn and Liquor License. Public hearing to determine the status of the license and the provisions of Article 2B, 10-504D. Hereby testify, please support and use your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sean Harvey, representing the secured creditor, who is actually the substitute licensee, John Zorzit, trustee to the secured creditor.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Harvey. What are we going to do here? Tell me why we're even in this position.
I had assumed that it was set in because of the February 18th letter I faxed and sent to the liquor board office to Ms. Schroeder, advising her that my client has been diligently trying to sell this license to recoup in the case of 424 South Payson Street. He lent $50,000 to the prior owner, and this matter was heard in, I'm sorry, I think it was September? No, I'm sorry, August 9th on a hardship extension request, and I sent a letter on February 18th asking for an additional extension in order to be able to sell this license. My client took I guess, title to the license as secured creditor on March 30th of 2012. And so that's why I assume that this matter was scheduled, although I did get a letter on March 2nd, which didn't really address the request that I've sent to the liquor board, but it said, as in the previous letter you mentioned, that they're not going to accept renewal applications until the status of this license is determined by the board. So I'm requesting that the board grant my client additional time to get this license sold. He's got a lot of money tied up in this license, and you know, if the board determines that the license isn't viable, we'll lose that investment.
And we understand that. We also, it appears to me that he's only had one hardship extension.
This is the second one, right?
But we're really not here on a hardship extension. I mean, we're here on a status hearing, but it looks like you're eligible for a hardship extension.
Here's the letter that I sent.
Are you sure? Oh, yeah, you know, and I can't even find that in the file. But now, until you showed me what it looked like. How soon would your client be able to pay all license fees, renewals, everything?
I think it's just due for the prior year and the current year, so as soon as possible. I think the deadline is next week, so we'll be able to do it by then.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Well, then we have a good date for that. Is it March 31st, 28th?
The last Friday? Say Friday the 29th? Oh.
All right, any questions, commissioners?
None.
Let's go off the record. And we'll go to our decision phase. March 21st, 2013, John Zorzit, secured creditor, 424 South Payson Street. It's a public hearing under 2B10504D for a BD7. We dealt with this license last year in a hearing regarding false claims of ownership. And we then did grant a single 10504D extension last August. Although this hearing is scheduled as a status hearing, we're going to go ahead and grant a second hardship request based on the correspondence timely filed by Mr. Harvey. We will also order the licensee to become current with all renewal fees no later than close of business Friday, March 28th, 2013. If the fees aren't paid by then the license will be determined invalid.
Okay.
All right? There'll be a fee to be paid here, so see Mr. Page, and it's always a pleasure, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you.
Take care. You got it. We're off the record. And you can wait until we're concluded all your business before us, and then you can go see Mr. Page.
All these conflicts.
That's right. We appreciate your diligence.
Thank you.
financial diligence.
Sorry.
All right, we're up.
1 PM case, John Zorget, secured creditor, 532-34 North Montford Avenue, Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, public hearing to determine the status of the license under provisions of Article 2B, 10-504D. Everybody testify, please step forward and raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sean Harvey, 309 South Conklin Street for Mr. Zorzit. Again, this is the second property that, or license that I requested a hardship extension on in my letter to the board on February 18th.
I found it this time. Okay.
And it states basically my client is a trustee for the benefit of Marina Properties LLC, who lent the prior licensee the sum of $80,000 on this particular license. Mr. Zorzit took title to the license on March 30th, 2012 by substitute application, which is duly filed in the office of the liquor board. And as I mentioned, I requested a second hardship extension on this, the first one being on the same day as the previous one, August 9th. And although he's been diligently trying to sell this license, he just has not found a suitable purchaser. So I'm requesting that the board grant an additional hardship extension.
Any questions, commissioners?
None.
So how much does he owe on this license?
I think it's just the current year also.
Okay.
In fact, I'm sure it's just the current year. And you'd be able to pay it by the end of next week.
Wonderful. All right, any questions, commissioners? Let's go off the record. Now let's go on the record in our hearing, in our decision phase. March 21st, 2013, John Zorzit, secured creditor, 532-34 North Montford Avenue. It's a public hearing under 2B 10504D for the license status. Mr. Harvey made a timely request for a second hardship extension under 10504D. The board indeed will grant 180 days from today's date to the applicant, or to the licensee. Additionally, all fines due and all fees due to the liquor board must be paid in full on this matter by March 28th, 2013.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Harvey?
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are off the record.